everyone, and welcome to today's episode. We're going to be talking about Hearts in Circulation by Sarah Monzon. So, this one is a contemporary romance and it fits within the Christian fiction category. And it's also the second book in Sarah's Checking Out Love series. So, why did I want to read this one? Well, I really have enjoyed reading Sarah's books in the past, including the first book in the series, which is an overdue match. And you can find a book recommendation for that one at my blog at my website at narelleatkins.com. And it's also episode 2 on the podcast and YouTube show here. So you can go back and check out that book as well. And so I pre-ordered this one and I did read it pretty quickly after it arrived. But in Australia, we never get our print books quickly when we pre-order it. It's just the way it works, being on the opposite side of the world. So, and I record episodes in advance. So I did read this one closer to the release date, but it's not actually coming and being dropped as an episode until early 2026. But anyway, let's talk about the book. Hearts in Circulation by Sarah Monzon is set in southeastern Tennessee. So we're very much in small town land where this book is set, in a more remote part of the world, a very pretty part of the world. And we have a number of romance tropes in this one. So we have opposites attract, which often goes with the grumpy sunshine trope. Although I will say with this one, it is grumpy sunshine with a twist. We have them stranded together and forced proximity, and I'll get to that a bit later. It's also a short time frame romance, and it really is insta love with a twist, which I'll also get to as well. And we have bookish characters in this one. Both of them are avid readers, and our leading lady is a librarian. And as I said, we're set in a small town, and there are also some really sweet epistolary story elements because the characters write notes and letters to each other, which I'll get to as well. So the first line in the book is this one: "You cannot be serious, I say, my voice oozing with dubiety as I take in the heap of metal littering the corner of the library's parking lot." So that is a very intriguing opening line. And the person who says this is Hayley. So I'm going to introduce her first. So she's 29 years old and she is one of the 3 librarians who work in this small town. And the other 2 are leading ladies in the other books in the series. So it's a friend group story series, which is really fun. Now, when she was 12 years old, she had a liver transplant, which has really impacted her view of the world. And she sees each day as being a blessing because she could have easily died when she was a child. And so she feels a lot of gratitude and a real desire to help people and to make a difference and to make her life count. And her new job as part of her library role is to have the mobile bookmobile that she'll be driving around for the library. And that's what this heap of metal is that's in the parking lot. And there's a story behind it. The mayor made an election promise to have a bookmobile for the library. And so he's donated his junk VW wagon thing to the town. And everyone's looking at it thinking, don't know how well this is going to work. And of course, they're right. And we'll get to that in a minute. And so when Hayley does her maiden trip in the bookmobile, it ends in disaster. And so before I get to that, I'll introduce you to our hero. And his name is Levi, and he's a similar age to Hayley. He's a mechanic who also thankfully owns a tow truck, and I'm probably giving away something by saying that. And the other thing he loves doing is flipping classic cars. Now, he's a recluse who has sensory issues, which are actually an important story element. So I'm not going to say any more on that because if I talk any more about that, I'm actually going to be giving away spoilers, which I don't do when I do these episodes. And so Levi is very reclusive. He likes his own company. He doesn't like being overstimulated by his environment, and he finds people can be overstimulating as well. So there's some things that are going on with him as well. And so he quite likes his very, very small town. It's really a micro town. There's not many people live here, and it's very limited in terms of resources. And it really is in the backwoods, but in a really pretty part of the world. And he moved to this town and left behind his big family. So he is the middle child of 5 with 2 older sisters and 2 younger sisters. So you can understand he grew up in a very loud and boisterous family that was very challenging because he has sensory issues so that he has to manage as well. So he's an avid reader, and that is his big common interest with Haley, as we discover as the story kicks off. And they're meet cute. Well, it relates to the disaster I mentioned. And of course, it's no spoiler to say that the bookmobile breaks down at an inconvenient time in an inconvenient location where a natural disaster happens at the same time, which actually strands her on the wrong side of what happens. And she gets stuck in this small town that Levi lives in and can't get back to her hometown. And so that's where we are because Levi is the only person in town that can come out and rescue her with his tow truck. And so this meet cute, it is adorable. These two are really lovely characters. And I wish I could talk about them more, but if I talk about them too much, I will be giving away spoilers. So you'll just have to read the book to work it out. But he rescues Haley and he makes a really big impression on her. And it is a really cute meet cute for a whole bunch of reasons. And there are so many problems in this story that need to be overcome. And Haley being stranded in Levi's town is problem number one. And where she's going to stay and what's going to happen is a big part of that. And we have Levi who likes his space, and having Haley around while she's stuck in town is very different for him and challenging for him in good ways and bad ways as well. And it was very challenging in good ways because he recognizes that she's different and there's something different about her. And that's where the insta love trope comes into this one. And he is grumpy for a reason, not grumpy because he's painful. And Haley is definitely the sunshine who is the extrovert that draws people to her. And that's why she loves working in a library because she's an extrovert and likes talking to people. And they both have a lot of emotional baggage and a lot of things that have happened in the past that have been very hard. And those issues will arise in the story and need to be unpacked and processed as well as they work towards their happily ever after ending. So I did love this story. There were just so many sweet moments in it and some really poignant moments that made me think. And the romance is very sweet and it's different. It had a different trajectory in many ways to a lot of other romances. It doesn't have a big black moment, which I really appreciated because it wouldn't have worked for this story to have got angsty towards the end. So I liked how the romance played out as well. And there was some really fun and thought-provoking story elements that I really appreciated. And we have bookish themes. We've got the fun concept of the mobile library with the bookmobile and all the things that go along with that. And the side characters, her librarian friends, well, we've already met one of her friends, which is Evangeline in the first book in the series. And Martha, her other friend, will be in the third book in the series. So I'm looking forward to reading that one. And the Len Levi's family, they are very interesting. And his sisters, it was just really fun seeing the dynamics of the way his family worked as well. I appreciated how that played out in the story. And being a small town, you've got your quirky characters that make life interesting, that's never boring in a small town. And we have all those fun small town story elements that I really love as a reader. And there's also some epistolary story elements, and it's not a big part of the story. This is not an epistolary novel. I'm not saying that at all. But there was some communication that was happening via notes and letters. It was just adorable. And I just loved how that was included in the story. Because one of the problems that Levi and Haley were dealing with was actually how to communicate effectively with each other in a way that was comfortable and safe and there really was, even though it is insta love, there really was a friendship foundation that happened very quickly because they bonded really fast with forced proximity and all of that kind of thing as well. But I just loved how the notes and the letters, they were just a really sweet story element that I really enjoyed. So my favorite book quote in the story is this one. It's a blessing I feel the weight of responsibility for every single day. And so this one I'd call relevant faith elements, definitely, because there is faith elements in the story, but it's very light on the page. And it's not until later in the story you actually see the faith elements. So you could start this story thinking that it's not Christian fiction, but it is Christian fiction because the faith elements underpin what's going on and are very subtle in the way that they're woven into the story, which I really appreciated. And in terms of the impact on me, there were lots of smiles, and it also made me think because the characters had some issues they were dealing with that were very serious, and it was educational and really interesting to walk in their shoes and to learn about some things that I wasn't familiar with. And I can't say any more because I don't want to give away spoilers. And this one is book two in a series. It's definitely a standalone story and can be read on its own. But if you are planning to read all three books in the series, I would recommend starting with book one because the characters are all connected, and I think it would unfold seamlessly if you started from book one rather than jumping around. So, in summary, I recommend this book to readers who like grumpy sunshine and opposites attract romances, to readers who like the standard, stranded, and forced proximity tropes. I'll say stranded properly and not say standard. To readers who like insta love and the short time frame romances, to readers who like bookish characters that have a real love for all things literary and books and libraries and all that kind of stuff. So if you're a nerdy and into books and libraries, you'll love this one. And if you love those small towns with those quirky characters and all the fun things that go with that, you'll love this one. And it's also, I'd recommend it to readers who like stories that have light and relevant faith elements that are very organic to the story and sit below the surface and are brought, and the faith elements come out in a way that makes a lot of sense. And I really can't say any more because I don't want to give away spoilers. Thanks for joining me today. Does Hearts in Circulation sound like a book that you'd like to read? Have you read it? What did you think? You can let me know. If you're listening on the podcast, you can send me a text via a link in the show notes. If you're watching at YouTube, you can like the episode at YouTube and also leave a comment at YouTube. And you can also email me. And my website, I have a contact form, and that's at narelleatkins.com. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. And you can do that at your favorite podcasting app or subscribe at YouTube. And then you'll get a notification for when my next episode drops and you won't miss any episodes. And also, if you've enjoyed this episode, please share the link with a friend, especially a friend who likes reading contemporary romance and a friend who you think would enjoy reading Sarah Monzon's books. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.